Thank you, thank you. What was the actual purpose of this meet was to invite the eminent citizens of Chennai city who've been doing a lot of good work, and they share their experiences and their life expertise, and this is the actual purpose of the Chennai Carnatic Club starting this. And in the series, first session was with C.R. Rangarajan sir.
And me, my colleague Christy from the Smart City team, she handles communication. I will give the punchline later, there's something I'll tell about her. But I'm representing Greater Chennai Corporation, Smart City, and all the different people who have made these things possible. Because every time I'm like, I don't know, the marketing person of Smart City. So it sounds like I single-handedly took cement, I single-handedly took steel, and single-handedly made things happen. That's not, and you know this, it doesn't work that way. It takes thousands of people's, millions of hours of painful suffering to move a stone from here to here in India. So it's a tough thing. That's one thing. So usually in a gathering like this, I've spoken in front of school kids, I've spoken in front of Rotaries, industry associations. I always spend, let's say, half an hour asking people something. But here, since lack of time, I'll spend only 5-10 minutes. So usually what I do is I ask people to imagine that you are the mayor. Yesterday you got elected, right? Big victory. The whole city is now expecting you to fix problems. Okay, they voted for you, that's it. Now I usually spend half an hour asking you, if you're a mayor, what would you do? You know, different people will say, I'll give you 2 minutes for example. Quickly tell me, you're the mayor right now. What are the problems of Chennai you would solve? Traffic. There are no right answers, by the way. Okay.
You first need funds. You need money first to start things.
Fine.
Beautiful waterways.
Waterways, waste management,
Drainage
facilities, toilets, beautifying the waterways. That's it. Walkways, parks,
wheelchair
access. Okay, so I'm sure if I spend half a day here, we'll keep coming up with newer and newer problems. So just to, the point of the next 5 minutes is nothing profound, but it's actually something that we all as Indian citizens need to understand. So, assume I'm your advisor. So ma'am, you said finance, right? Okay. So I'll say, sir, madam, I'm the advisor in corporation, and madam, I'll say, the only thing you can do is property tax. All the rest of the money comes from center and state. Okay, fine. Somebody said transport. Let's take transport as a area. Now, depending on which city you visited, if you ask me which is the city I would like to be, Hong Kong, Singapore, Shanghai, etc., etc. Some people say, no, I went to Houston. Roads are huge roads, very, very road. I'll show something here later, but those set of two baskets of cities belong to two different philosophies. So let's assume a Tidal Park Junction. So he's the mayor. So he's complaining as a citizen. Tidal yada pandanga. So as an advisor, I'll tell him, sir, that's highway. Your corporation mayor. That's the highway department. Not even highway department. It belongs to a company under the highway department, right? Sorry, okay. Somebody said waterway. Let's assume you went Kuam, right? Sir, because that belongs to PWD. Yeah? Somebody is living near Velacheri Lake. Say, madam, sir, Velacheri Lake, Singapore Mari Pandi Kudunga. As an advisor, I will tell them, sir, Panamudiyade, PWD. Ambattur Lake is PWD. Korattur Lake is PWD. The point I'm trying to make is not that advanced cities, everything is under the mayor. I don't mean that at all, right? There will always be multiplicity of organizations. But the advanced cities have processes to coordinate. So simple example I'll give you, right? Now I told you about Houston and Atlanta on one side, and I used to do in the US for a long time. So in those cities, even to buy tomatoes and potatoes, you have to get into your car, drive 5 miles to Walmart and buy potatoes, right? That's also fine, nothing wrong with it. I don't like it, by the way, okay? Now you may like it. You may say, I have a Mercedes Benz, I want to go to buy potato in my Mercedes Benz. But that's a philosophical issue, not an engineering issue. Adhe Mari, I'll say Hong Kong. I go walking and I can buy potatoes right next door, right? Now let's take, so depending on who you ask, you're the mayor, you ask the Houston NGO, Houston Maripannu, which means the tidal roads problems can be solved by widening the road, making it bigger, putting a flyover, right? I already told you that road doesn't belong to you. So mayor, as a mayor, you can't do much. Now if you ask the Hong Kong type NGO, we have friends in ITDP, etc., who will say you need more buses, bus rapid transit system, you need railways, etc., etc. Now one by one, if I were to take, I'll say MPC bus is a state level organization. Railways is a central government organization. Mayor has nothing to do with it. You can't call railway and say, who's the trainer going in, right? Metro Rail, by the way, I'm a number one fan of Metro Rail. I'm super happy that Metro Rail is coming to Chennai, more is coming. That also is a state and central government agency. So one by one, if you see, you can figure out, if you just do a mental mapping one day, if you have nothing else to do, just ask yourself, what are the citizens, what are the services you enjoy? Water, metro water, state level. Electricity, state level, and so on, right? But mayor can do solid waste management. It comes under the city. This road, the Radhakrishna Sale, is corporation. So some things corporation can do, many things corporation cannot do. So the gist, this I usually spend half an hour, 1 hour to demolish everybody's dreams. Okay, people say all kinds of big dreams. I enjoy doing that. I enjoy half an hour just destroying people's dreams. Because only then we can build new dreams. No, your dreams has to be based on something credible that can be achieved, not simply saying I will go to Venus tomorrow morning or something like that, right? So since I don't have time, like 5 minutes I've ruined your life. So the fundamentals, if you walk in an Indian city, this is my personal opinion, and I'm sure many support me. One of the biggest challenges of our cities and towns, if you ask people, they'll say Makkal Serilla, Ivru Serilla, Avru Serilla. Chennai Makkal Serilla. You go to Guwahati, they'll say Guwahati Makkal Serilla. You go to Surat, they'll say Surat Makkal Serilla. The problem is not Makkal. Makkal are same. Every city has gone through this. If you look at the Stockholm cities pictures from the 60s, it looked like our old Pondicherry. Hardly any place to walk. It's full of cars, just mess. People are walking at the next to the shop in a little itty-bitty footpath. Same place looks terrific now. All tourists like to go. Post-COVID, surge in tourism and all that. The problem is, we are a highly centralized country. Extremely centralized. For an amazingly vibrant democratic country that we are, and I love that. I love the fact that we are a democracy. I love our democracy. I don't want to live anywhere else. But we are a highly centralized country. And until when that is solved in the long run, not much can change. If everything, a person in the city has to talk to 10,000 different agencies in center and state and so on and so forth, including financing, by the way, right? It cannot be done. See, we always love to talk about London mayor and this mayor and that mayor. So I'm not talking about democracy versus dictatorship. Singapore, depending on who you ask, it's a democracy or a dictatorship. It's a decentralization. It's all at the city level, which means the mayor can tell them, even in some cities in India, it's like that. The bus company is owned by the city, not by the state or center. So which means in tidal case, if you do a proper analysis, you will realize that people didn't pop up in tidal magically. Cars didn't appear out of thin air in the middle of tidal park, in the junction. It came from Velacheri, it came from T Nagar, it came from St. Thomas Mount, wherever, right? So putting something here, road winding there has no meaning. Yes, we are shifting the problem from here, this junction to that junction to somewhere else. Which means you need more buses from various places. Which means next metro rail has to be through tidal park. Which means carrot and stick. These are the carrots, the nice buses, the nice metro rail. The stick is the parking. Parking is under the mayor in Chennai, right? So if you live in New York City, suburbs of New York City, you go take your family, watch a movie in New York City and come back. There are only two choices. You can take your car and pay through your nose, or you can take public transport. Same thing. And there are multimillionaires who are taking public transport and going Lincoln Center and watching somebody sing and dance and come home. So the point I'm trying to make is, each individual agency cannot do something. So there are institutional structures in the city that say, look, I'll create a common plan. Okay, which means a bus, okay, you bus metro rail, you increase parking charges, you do the congestion charge wherever the destination, where is the magnet for all these cars and so on. So that's the bigger philosophical problem of India.
For the Rotary year, and this is our last project for the year we are doing. I'm so happy that two Rajas like sharing the heat. Hope we all did justice for the last year of the Rotary. Went with a good project and a good show. Thank you so much, sir. It was indeed like when we went to invite Mr. Raj. Of course, like when I say Bharat, I'm going to take my own name. We just went for like inviting, but 5 minutes we spent. The kind of warmth, that, like the way in which he extended his reception was so warm. We started discussing business. Because the purpose was more of an invitation for the show, but we started discussing business. And a long way to start discussing business. Business meaning not my own business, our own business, but do with the Rotary business. Because the way in which they have structured, the way in which the format they have, the menu card, as you always say, right, sir? The menu card has got everything. Go choose the menu, what you want, what project you want to do. Everything is all set. And we are lucky that we have our own Rotarian, Mr. Dr. Eridan. In fact, I have been spending some time in the recent past, looking for some kind of projects. The office itself is totally more like the way how it was. Generally, we all have what to do, how to approach, all those stuff. The structure the corporation has made, the MLA office or your report building, everything has been totally structured. And I should definitely tell you, Mani, my fellow co-president, we are discussing that we want to do larger projects over a period of time. It's an easy way that you have done it. That shows that it's not a smart city. The smart way of implementing things is going to be much more easier. Thank you so much for doing all this. And definitely, whatever that as a smart city that's looking for a smart, in terms of funding or whatever it is, we are there to support you on this. And I would like to thank all the other people who have been here. And thank you so much. It was a lovely journey that I have been during the last 1 year doing whatever bit that we could do. I always say a small drop make a large ocean. So it's always do something small, but at least do something. That's the whole point about it. There's nothing like a big or small. Do something what you can do, what you feel, what you're comfortable with. அதே மாதிரி டொனேஷன் சொல்லுங்க அள்ளி கொடுக்க தேவையில்லை கிள்ளி கொடுங்க சொல்லுவேன் நம்ம கிட்ட ஒன்றும் பெருசா இருக்கணும் அவசியம் கிடையாது. Whatever we have, whether it's a 10 bucks or 100 bucks, do it with your heart. Do something which you really feel. I'm sure that I really enjoy doing it over a period of time. And many people asking, one year mudichu pochi, illa very relaxed. Actually speaking, it's not so. The real work is going to start from tomorrow because what I've been going through all this 1 year is all the learning process. So my real effort is going to be from tomorrow, and I assure you that whatever the best I want to do to the society will be done from my end. Thanks a lot to all the Carnatics and other people who have been here supporting me in whatever means which I could do. And I don't know much anyway. It's going to be a much more special, a lovely journey indeed. Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir. It's a very interesting meeting. We were all thinking what smart city is all about. It's a very interesting revelation how difficult it is to maneuver through. Yeah, we are so-called builders. We don't understand too much about it. So we hardly work with the government agencies. Very limited only towards licensing part of it. So it's a good learning. We would like to connect and understand.
Hey, not like that. She's a.
Thank you.
Wait. This is a part of a Rotary Club. This project is basically part of a Rotary Club of Chennai Carnatic, where it's called a Chennai Lecture series. We do it on a year-on-year, basically to do like fundraising. Basically, the whole concept about the show is like choose a person who's from Chennai and then talk about something to specialize in Chennai. So, in fact, this is our 5th edition. We started with the very first Chennai Lecture series with Dr. C. Rangarajan, who was supposed to be the RBI governor, and then followed by M.K. Narayanan, and then by the National Security Advisor. And today we have Mr. Raj Cherubul, who's a CEO of a smart city planner, and the way in which he spoke has been brilliant. I'm sure you all would have get a chance to speak. Let me see the things over here. The way in which we all want to see how Chennai is going to be something it's our interest, and today we know, okay, because at the end of the day it's our own Chennai. We want to know how the future of Chennai is going to be, and I would say after seeing his presentation, Chennai is going to be way beyond, where similar to the where we really admire about places like Times Square or London or whatever it is. The way in which the planning is being done is very, very brilliant, and I would like all the people to be part of this particular initiative from the Chennai Corporation as well as the Rotary. Thanks again for being part of this.